Well, hello, welcome to I Love Gay today. And we're back in Los Angeles today, and we're here with John Volturo. How are you, John?
I am well. How are you today, Matt? Thank you for
Oh,
having me.
hanging in there. No, we were just talking earlier. There's so much going on lately. Since this last week, since we're only like 2 weeks into the new year, or not even yet.
Not even, and it almost feels like it's the end of March.
It does. But the January is going to come through very quickly. And but no, you and I have been connected for quite a while because you're in Los Angeles. You're a business coach, kind of, I almost want to say a life coach, all things coach, but helping people along, especially when it comes to their business and career. But yeah, just tell us a
Oh,
little bit about who you are and what you do.
sure, sure. Yeah, so I used to be in corporate and startup America for a really long time as a chief marketing officer and a general manager. And one of the things that I always felt throughout my whole career was that I didn't have enough help to get to where I was, and I wasn't probably smart enough to ask for help until later in my career when I got an executive coach. And it was really to help me to acclimate to Los Angeles culture after moving here from New York because I'm a New Yorker. And when I got that coach, it was really life changing for me.
Yeah,
And it made me realize there's a lot of power in being able to help people in their career make, new choices, less challenges.
yeah,
And I kind of tucked that away in the back of my head after my relationship with my coach ended and just continued on my career until I got to a point where I was just feeling like exhausted being a chief marketing officer. And I really wanted to do something that touched my heart. And at this point, and I'm a dad, I have twin girls who are now 9 years old. Right after they were born, like a lot of this, you hear parents say, it was, I never thought I would say it, but it was true. Those kids changed the way I thought about what I was doing.
yeah,
And I wanted to spend my time in ways that were really super meaningful to me, that I thought would be meaningful to them so they could develop something meaningful for their lives.
yeah.
So over 3 years ago, I decided to just leave the world of corporate America and actually go on the other side and become an executive coach myself so I could help the folks who were struggling like me. So I grew up in New York City as a struggling, out kid, out young leader, no role models. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if there were some sort of program, there was some sort of, access to someone like me who's been there, who actually has credentials. So I went back to school, became a coach. I then became part of what they call the International Coaching Federation, which is the body that accredits coach, and this credits coaches. And I'm this year the president of that in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So for me, it's been a really long journey based upon something that I internally had a need to fulfill
Yeah,
and realized that I'm not the only one. And there's a huge audience out there that, could be helped and wants to be helped now.
yeah, I love that. And you're very active there locally in the LA gay and lesbian business community, I believe. Yeah, with the gay and lesbian chamber there and so forth.
Yeah, so I love community. I love our community. And I joined the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce many, many years ago. And I also joined the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce and then became certified as a designated business, which is really important to me because I think there's power in, our elected officials and others seeing that we are there in number, but also because it adds that credibility that you've done the work
Yeah,
to kind of show up and to offer your services to our community. And I only want to be the best that I can possibly be, and that was a really important part of me doing it.
you were telling me also earlier, you have an interesting aspect to what you do, which is helping folks in the workplace when it comes to just trying to figure out how to navigate and come out and be more themselves.
Yeah, thanks for asking about that. It's something that I feel really passionate about. I always tell people, like growing up in New York City, I was kind of naive. I thought I could just always be out, but it really wasn't the case. I hit that, that pink ceiling many times and was never able to break through. And part of my journey was instead of fighting it, I went back to school and got an MBA because I thought, well, maybe I could gain respect and people won't look at me as this gay guy, right?
Yeah,
And what I realized along the way, though, as I aged, was that I wasn't being authentic to myself at that time. I was doing what I thought other people thought I should do, so I didn't look gay at work.
yeah,
And that was not, when I realized that, I was kind of like a really loud sound in my head saying, make sure other people know there are other pathways, give them the tools, give them resources. So when I started doing what I've been doing for the past 3 years and becoming more involved in the Coaching Federation in Los Angeles, I realized there was not enough diversity in the federation. I didn't realize there was not enough diversity at work, right? I was always the most senior person in an organization who was out. Hardly any other folks were out. And I knew that needed to be fixed. So part of my mission over the past few years has been to help people to safely come out of the closet so they can show up more authentically at work. You probably know, or your audience might have heard, that over 45% of the LGBT people who work are still in closet in this 2021 because they don't feel safe. They don't feel like they have allies. So a lot of the work I do is with LGBTQ coaching circles or individuals who really are at that point where they want to either get ahead, but do it authentically, and they might be out at work, or a lot of individual work with folks who are really just on that journey of coming out, people who are 40 years old or above, who have families and they're getting divorced and they're coming out slowly as a process, and they still want to do it and keep their job and get promoted and be loved and adored for who they are.
Have you had to adapt a lot of your business and interacting with your clients over the last year with COVID?
Yeah, so my business, like most people's, went 100% onto virtual, onto Zoom. And luckily, we had been training people to do Zoom in the Coaching Federation already. But all of the work is really done through Zoom. And yes, we miss being in person. And it's kind of, it gets a little, interesting to try to figure out how do you create a really large, well-attended Zoom and make it be super interesting for people. But the thing is, when you're working one-on-one with people like we are looking at each other today, I can see your eyes, I can see, some of your body, and I can tell what's happening for you a little bit. And, I like that intimacy, and I think that really helps, in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah, but you're a gay dad, so you've got to juggle both your Zoom sessions there, and then your kids are remote schooling as well, yes?
Yeah, so I'm in my office right now, right? And it's basically a bedroom. And on the other side of my door is a "please do not disturb daddy" sign. And when I'm working, I have to tell them to be in a separate part of the house and don't make too much noise. And one of my daughters was voted the president of her third grade class about a month or so ago. Yeah. And I was on a big, coaching session with a bunch of folks, and, you heard the squeals and the screams in the background. And it was like one of those moments where first you cringe and you're like, oh, how are people going to receive this? And then you realize everyone's kind of applauding you. And, we're living life in a different way these days.
We're all in this together. You're just lucky your cat wasn't coming up on your shoulder and wanting to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I love all this. And being from LA, you and I swapped here. So the main part is when I come back again, I thought I would be back a lot more in 2020 than I was for obvious reasons. But for this year, I'm hoping to be able to, I'm actually going to be back there in February. And but in general, when we're able to connect in the real world again, it'd be great to be able to see you there, and maybe even go to an LA Gay and Lesbian Chamber event as well together.
Yeah. It's obviously timing for COVID, unpredictable, and it impacted everyone in very similar ways. But what was really cool about LA is the community really started to coalesce around certain groups, and it was just really getting exciting. And I'm hoping that we'll get that energy back, and I'm sure we will. LA is a really amazing city and very outdoor city, I must say.
I tell people, I would always leave the door in flip-flops and shorts, and then if it was a little cold, you go, oh, it's a little chilly today, which was rare, and then you go back and put on some pants and shoes, and those days are over for me.
Yeah, because you're on the East Coast. It's funny, when I first moved to LA from New York, my mother came to visit with her boyfriend at the time, and we were, of course you want to take everybody to Beverly Hills when they come to LA for the first time, right? Yeah. So we're at a coffee shop, and everyone's wearing flip-flops, shorts, and fur coats.
yes. Because it's chilly. LA. It's chilly, but
it's chilly.
I love it. I know this is great, but like I said, I look forward to being able to connect with you in the real world. And I'm really glad you were able to take a few moments and share some of your story here with our audience.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I always enjoy, speaking with you and chatting with you.
Yep, same here. Well, thanks again, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Matt. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It feels good, so good, coming back.